lot of people. And when I mean a lot, your digital platform has more than 3,000 trained on the. My question to you is, and I know some of the questions ringing in some of the young people's head, are innovators born or made? Do we have that question in our head? Yeah? Some of us will tell ourselves, that's not my area, or that's not, for us in our family, we are not in that area. So, according to all these young people you've interacted with, believe that these people come with So while he answers his question, maybe we can have our questions ready. Anyone who has a question, so kindly have your question ready.
Okay, Samuel, having interacted with a very good number of young people and people from diverse fields or areas of life, I think innovation is built into everyone. It's like in everyone's DNA. All you need to do is bring it out. And one of the key characters of an innovator is open-mindedness and curiosity. So open-mindedness and curiosity. In the aspect of open-mindedness, be open to just learn from other people. Be open to interacting with people from other fields. In the aspect of curiosity, learn is a forever process. We learn every day. So if you're just good at maybe coding, you've been practicing that for over 2 years and all that, then it'd really be nice if you want to start a startup or you want to run a business, take an entrepreneurship course or take a business course, a very short one, and you'll find that all these areas of life are kind of intertwined. The main aim of living is just to get a better quality life. And that means that everything that we do, no matter which field you come from, we are all working towards having a better life for ourselves and for the people around us. So to answer back your question, everyone is innovative. In nature, we are born innovative. It's within our DNA. It's within everyone's DNA. But then all we need to do is bring out that giant. And the only way to do that is being open-minded and curious enough.
Thank you very much, Albert, for that answer. It's very powerful. I think for people in the tech industry, we have this rule, 10,000-hour rule. How many of us know the 10,000-hour rule? How many have heard about the 10,000-hour rule? Basically, what the 10,000-hour rule means that for you to say you're good in something, for me to say I'm good in JavaScript or I'm good in data science, I need to at least spend 10,000 hours perfecting that skill. Then I will say I'm good. Some of you call yourself gurus, and you've just been doing it for around 6 months. So if you take 10,000 hours and divide it by the number of hours we have in a day, you'll notice that it requires a lot of years in terms of practice. And just to add on what the more hours you spend in a day perfecting your skill, the quicker you will get to your goal. So, as I said, all of us have it in our DNA to be the best we can be, to be whatever we dream to be. All we need to do is unlock it. Yeah, tell your neighbor all you need to do is unlock it. Yeah, so thank you very much for that. So I'll open the forum for questions, and you can kindly say who you are directing the question to. Do you have? So by a show of hands, maybe anyone who has a question.
My name is Harry. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. So my question is to the entrepreneur whom I'm looking at, who studied in JKUAT and did business started in JKUAT and went to the other counties. So my question is about keeping data and how you did the customer development for all your entrepreneurship, what you entrepreneured, like the business. So just taking you back a step so that you can be at par, all of us. Thank you.
Oh, so what we will do, we'll continue taking more questions and then they'll answer. So we can have another question. Anyone? Any questions? Yes, we have a question here.
Thank you. I want to direct this question to the moderator. That the audience would want to know, what is data innovation? The title is very clearly stated, but have you unpacked it for this team to understand, so that we can then relate to the entrepreneurship as a challenge? Thank you.
Thank you. We'll pick more questions. Any questions? Normally people say when there are no questions, either people have understood everything or they've understood. Yeah? What do we say? Yeah? Can we get just like 2 more questions for the panelists? Anyone? Okay, then I'm seeing we are out of questions. So we'll start with the first question, and then now we'll move on to the next question. Then I'll finish off with the last questions we had for the panelists.
Thank you for the question you asked. I think, if I understood it very correctly, is understanding the customer. And when you talk about understanding the customer, that informed the decision to start the business, I'll take you back to one very critical component when you talk about entrepreneurship. Everybody has to understand what we define as model canvas. And the business model canvas, the third component is always about the customer, or is talking about the market, because as it starts, can consume product, or how many people can consume my services. That you understand your primary market and your secondary market, who basically can my service in being very specific, and go down to profile your customer by understanding their age, their gender, their location, their interests, and whether they are able to consume that service to solve their problem. So basically understanding it from a holistic point of view, to a tune of, can my service or product be consumed globally, and locally, where can my service or product be consumed, and which particular location. So basically understanding the market is a first step to you getting to know who your customer is. Then after that, if my customer is between the age of 18 to 23, who basically at that point was a university student, then how can I reach out to them? So I go and analyze what we define as customer acquisition strategies. Basically, how can I market to that customer? What can I do? Do I use social media? Do I use flyers? Do I use brochures? Do I put a signage? Do I use incentives or offers? Come and take a bike for 1 hour at 100 bob and I'll give you an extra hour for free. So I'll be able to use incentives or offers, or after you ride the bike for a whole day, when you come back, I'll give you a free soda. Basically, marketing strategies. But at the initial stage, it starts from understanding the market size and understanding who the primary market is, and then defining how I'm going to reach out to that market and convert them. When we talk about marketing strategies, we normally talk about attracting, and then we talk about bringing them to the business, and finally converting them. And after converting them, there's also an element of maintaining that customer when we talk about customer retention. So all those elements form the basis of understanding your customer, understanding your market, and how you're able to reach out to them and retain them in the business. Have I answered you? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. I'll also answer my question on data innovation. Yeah, so I'm sure some of us have heard the new phrase, data is the new oil. How many of us have heard that phrase? Data is the new oil. Yeah, so basically data is just a set of raw facts and figures that have not yet been processed or translated into something that you can easily understand. So when we talk about data innovation, basically this entails using this data, converting it into information that can be understood, and then using this data in a creative way, or using this information in a creative way, so that you can be able to solve the problems and help move the society forward. Giving examples of companies that have been able to implement this. How many of us use Spotify? Or maybe that is not so popular. Let's use the most popular. How many of us use TikTok? I'm sure everyone phone here has, I'm sure 90%. How many of us have used TikTok? Yeah, just by a show of hands. I'm sure we've all interacted with TikTok on, right now TikTok is one of the most used apps in the world. Actually, it's the most used app in the world right now. So why did TikTok stand out so differently from Facebook, from Instagram, from Twitter? It's because what we're able to do is leveraging on the data that they are collecting from you. How much time do you spend on that video? On a video, what does that mean? Them to someone else, 2 seconds, just this person just spent 2 seconds. To them it means this person did not like this video. So that has been translated from data information, and then you'll also find they look at the angle whereby this person has liked this video and they've shared it with others. So what does that tell us about this person? This person has liked this content and wants to share it with others. So what it does, they use that data to make the algorithm better and better in a way that they can be able to take this data and make sure that each content that you're getting is better than the other. Is that true or false? Yeah, it's very hard. Whenever you scroll the next TikTok video, you'll find yourself scrolling to the next one and the next one, just because of how optimized the algorithm is through the innovation they've done through the data. And maybe going back to also an example that we used with one of our clients, we were dealing with a client who was in the agricultural field, and he was based in Canada, and he was making a software that whereby he needed to collect data from each region of the world which is heavy on agriculture, and then put it in his platform. But he had a hurdle whereby you can imagine the amount of data that is required for that kind of solution to come. So we helped him come up with a different approach, whereby why don't you give the people using the platforms the leverage to input their own data, and then let the software teach itself how to optimize the agricultural sector depending on the region. So what do I mean by that? So if, for example, I'm growing potatoes in Nakuru, it's different from growing it in Nyandarua. So I'll give it all the data that I'm using it in Nakuru, and depending on the harvest that I will get, given on the recommendations that are given in the current market, we have the recommendations. So it gets the results from that, looks at the yields, and then makes the necessary changes depending on how the harvest was, how the crops performed, and how the soil was at the end of the harvest. So every person will have a custom solution depending on their region, just because of the data that has been fed. So that is data innovation, and that's one of the ways in which you can use data to become even more creative in solving solutions. Thank you very much. I hope I've answered your question. Yeah, I hope I've answered your question. Yeah, so that was our last question for the panel, and I've just signaled our time up. But I'll just give them 2 minutes each to give the final remarks as we close the panel. I've been your moderator, Samuel Kioya. Thank you very much.
Okay, what I can say as a parting shot is what I had mentioned earlier on in for the students, look for the online courses during your holidays or even on weekends. Enroll for additional programs in other fields other than what you are in. That way you can be able to diversify your way of thinking, and that is the innovative or the innovative mindset. Being able to diversify your way of thinking and look at things from different perspectives. It's been a pleasure being part of the panelists. My name is Albert Kipchirchir from Eldo Hub.
I think my parting shot for this panel discussion would be 2 things. One is do not fear failure. As an entrepreneur, failure is one of the common things that we fear. But parting shot for today is do not fear to fail. With any startup, with any innovation, with any idea, with any venture that you're thinking about, usiogope. Kiogopa, you'll not be able to go far. And then lastly is we have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And that relates very well with you pushing yourself the extra mile. If you want to have an innovation mindset, then those 2 things would apply to each one of you. Do not fear to fail, and you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. You have to work the extra time, you have to push yourself, you have to fight to be able to make it. And I have enjoyed this panel discussion. You have been a lovely audience. Again, my name is George Wayne, the CEO and founder of Nakuru Box Innovation Center. Thank you.
My parting shot will be, this discussion and this conversation should not just end on this podium, and it should not just be held during innovation challenge, but this should be our daily life. We need to integrate conversation about innovation and entrepreneurship in our daily lives. We need to integrate innovation and entrepreneurship in our education system. Kabarak University being an academic institution, it's high time we start looking at how can we have courses around innovation, around entrepreneurship. We, for so long, and this is the challenge I normally give anytime I have a platform, especially to our education system. We copied so much what was introduced to us during the colonial period. And it's high time we customize our courses and our education system to fit to our needs. It's high time we look at, we have all those fancy courses, but how do they help us? We need to look critically at what our challenges are and how can we address them. My thinking is innovation should be introduced even to young kids at the primary school level. If we build this culture, by the time these young kids have matured and they are joining university, this is something they already know. As a country and as a continent, we are now talking big on data innovation, entrepreneurship. But you know, this is conversation that other countries had 10, 12 years ago. We are catching up with where the world is. And we really need to work extra hard to be able to compete effectively with the world out there in terms of building solutions, in terms of being where we want to be. It's high time we introduce innovation at the early stage of 4, 5 years, 6 years, so that we have innovators and creators for products that we need. There is no problem having a local mobile assembly plant in Kenya doing a better phone than Samsung and iPhone 14 and 15 if they are there. You know, that is very possible. But if we look at it currently, we don't have engineers who've been mentored, who've been nurtured from a young age to be able to have enough time. As some said, you need 10,000 hours to be an expert in a space. The 8 years, or now with the new CBC, the 7 years plus the other 4 and the other 4. It's high time we come up with a system that is focused on the output that a student will give the society and themselves